Herbst Frederick Skinner, 1904 to 1990. B.F. Skinner is a United States psychologist, a pioneer in the study of operative sociology, and has a doctoral degree PhD in psychology from Harvard University. In 1938, he published a book entitled The Behavior of Organisms, which contained a description of the basic principles of operative rule based on his studies that were carried out in 1930. He is known for his study on mice using the Skinner box. Although mice are very different from humans, Skinner has argued that all concepts related to rate behavior can be applied to humans. Thus, is it not surprising that Skinner plans to raise his children in the Skinner box? Operant conditioning is a method of learning that occurs through reward and punishment for behavior. Through operant conditioning, an individual makes an association between a particular behavior and consequences. And then Skinner is regarded as a father of operant conditioning, but his work was based on Thorndike 1898 law of effect. According to this principle, behavior that is followed by pleasant consequences is likely to be repeated, and behavior followed by unpleasant consequences is less likely to be repeated. Okay, next is about the experiment of B.F. Skinner. Based his theory on operant conditioning by conducting various experiments on animals, he used a special box, that is Skinner box, for his experiment on rats. The first step is he puts a hungry rat inside the box, and the rats become to adapt the environment uh, on the box and began to explore the box. And thus the mice will feel starvations. And when the mice discovered the levers, it start pressing the levers to get and then food come out when the mouse is pressing the levers. After a long time, a mice is feel hungry again. It start exploring the box again and pressing the levers. The same process is repeated when the rats step on the lever for the foods. After that, Skinner severed the connection between lever and food pellet, causing the foods is stopping coming out as the mice step on it. And then the mice stop trapping it. This action of pressing the lever is an operant response, and the food inside the chamber is food pellet is a reward for a mice.
Okay, next, we move to the second B.F. Skinner's of experiment. B.F. Skinner also conduct an experiment that explains negative reinforcement. Okay, the experiment will explain us about the negative reinforcement. Now, let me explain each step of what had happened in B.F. Skinner's second experiment. First, putting the rat in the chamber and subject the chamber to an unpleasant electric current. As we can see in this image, the shock generated as the unpleasant electric current. Second, the rat felt discomfort and started to move around the box. Third, the rat accidentally knocked the lever. When the rat felt discomfort from the effect of the electric current, the rat accidentally knocked the lever. Fourth, the rat pressing the lever ceased the flow of unpleasant. The rat realized when he accidentally knocked the lever, the electric current being ceased, and he started pressing it in order to make sure he did not feeling uncomfortable because of the electric current. And the last one, the rat smartened enough to go directly to the lever to cease the current. When the rat realized in order to stop the electric current, he must go directly and knock the lever. Okay, Right now, I want to describe what is the meaning of B.F. Skinner in the second experiment about the negative reinforcement like I had mentioned earlier. First, the electric current as the negative reinforcement. So we can see here, B.F. Skinner made the electric current as the negative reinforcement in this experiment. Second, the consequence of escaping the electric current made sure the rat repeat the action again and again. So when the rat realized that when he knocked the lever, he can save himself from feeling discomfort. So the rat will keep repeating the action of knock the lever again and again in order to save himself from feeling discomfort because of the electric current. Third, the pressing of the lever is an operant response. Okay, in these experiments, when the rat pressing the lever, it is called as operant response. Fourth, the complete stop of the electric current flow is its reward. Okay, when the electric current stop flow to the rat, so it is called as the reward. Conclusion for both experiments. Both experiment clearly explains the working of operant conditioning. The important part in any operant conditioning learning is to recognize the operant behavior and the consequence result in that particular environment. In this experiment, the most important part is to recognize the operant behavior, which is, for example, both of those rats respond when being put in different environment of chamber, and the consequence result in the particular environment is what we can call it as a result in both experiment towards those rats.
Okay, next we move to perspective in Islam for theory B.F. Skinner. In perspective Islam, I think it's not just focus on human relationship with human, but also human relationship with Allah. Mm. Actually, there's many ayah in Al Quran which is can relate with this theory, but I just pick one of the ayah from Surah Taha 132 because it's very close with us, very close with our life situation. The meaning of ayah is an enjoying prayer upon your family and people and be steadfast therein. Here, what we can say, the ayah remind us to be patient when we ask our family to do salah, to do prayer. Besides, it can be seen the people response to our for what we are talking about, for what we are asking to. In the meantime, we also do responsible with ourselves and responsible with uh, the rule of Allah.
The next is positive reinforcement. What the positive reinforcement? Positive reinforcement is strengthen a behavior by providing a consequence an individual find rewarding. For example, when the student asks teacher some question and the teacher praise his or him student based on the question that they ask, and the student will love to ask more question in the next class. And then they will be more likely to repeat this behavior in the future, thus strengthening the behavior of completing their homework. A teacher also can praise his or him student in many ways, such as sincere praise, praise quickly, praise without love, praise their effort and try to succeed, praise for the specific behavior, and last but not least, praise spontaneous answer or response.
Okay, next, negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement is an immediate, uncomfortable, or painful stimulus given after a given behavior. For example, a father scolds his son for not doing homework given by his teacher. Because of his father's cynicism, the boy was ready to go to school. The actions of the child doing homework can avoid unwanted stimulation, paternal aggression. Behavior turned to homework given by the teacher. Effect: parents scolding their children. Future behavior: the student will prepare the next assigned assignment on time. Sometimes negative reinforcement is appropriate for the desired behavior. For example, withdrawing vacation time if a student does not comply with the rules or dismiss the classroom. Next, Premack principles. Premack principles is to associate the less desirable activity with the less desirable activity to reinforce the behavior towards the less desirable activity. Premack principles is also known as grandma's rule, which is based on the fact that you can go out to play after you have eaten this vegetable. For example, as teachers, we can combine interesting activities with less interesting classroom activities to improve student learning. For example, after finishing a math course, a play activity is held. Disposal, it means that unacceptable behavior will disappear by itself. This situation can be overcome if enforcement of such behavior can be identified, the reinforcement is no longer used, teachers are willing to be patient in the process of disposal as the result is not immediate.